Begin tonight with more fallout over the lack of public defenders in Oregon. It's kind of a big deal. Without a lawyer, people cannot exercise their constitutional rights when accused of a crime, and that is a problem. In Eugene, federal judge Michael McShane says that constitutional right is so important that anyone statewide now being held in jail without a lawyer must be released after 7 days if they don't get that lawyer. And that is definitely our big story tonight. The judge estimated his ruling could impact roughly 135 people across the state who are being held in jail without a public defender. He's clearly concerned that the practice violates their constitutional rights, writing, "In essence, they have been locked away without a voice, being too poor to afford an advocate to speak for them in the courtroom." The judge's opinion notes that the defendants are appointed a public defender when they first appear in court, but then no one ever actually shows up to help them with their case. He also points out that some are being held in custody for weeks and sometimes months without an attorney, and that defendants have appeared at as many as 8 proceedings without counsel, including things like arraignments, release hearings, and case management hearings. So that's the group the judge is most concerned about. He said that because their constitutional right to a lawyer is being denied and they're being harmed by being locked up, that they must be released if no lawyer can be found for them within that 7-day span. McShane's ruling expands on an earlier decision this summer that required criminal defendants in just Washington County be released after 10 days if they could not get an attorney. But this ruling, also from McShane, this extends to every single county in Oregon and decreases the number of days from 10 down to 7. So what's that going to mean for places like Washington County now? I talked with the district attorney, Kevin Barton, about that this afternoon.
I checked this morning, and the most up-to-date information we have is we have 4 people who are currently in our jail who are without lawyers. And you know, in the weeks following Judge McShane's initial ruling, things have gotten a little bit better in Washington County. So the court has done a better job at finding attorneys for the people who are in jail and unrepresented. The majority of those people have received attorneys within that 10-day period of time that Judge McShane had originally ordered. So I think that this is something that is absolutely manageable, and it's definitely a standard that the state and the courts should be able to meet, the 7-day standard.
Okay, well, all right, that's encouraging to hear on this Friday, because the judge's ruling applies to every county in the state. We also then checked with Clackamas County's DA.
Clackamas County's been fortunate in that we haven't had in custody indigent defendants who haven't been able to get counsel. We do have out of custody defendants who are still seeking legal representation, but so far this opinion won't affect Clackamas County at all.
Okay, well, thanks for your time. Sorry to bother you. Statewide, there are around 2,700 people currently out of jail, charged with a crime, and not represented by a lawyer. Those are out of custody defendants that Wentworth mentioned. The judge's ruling does not affect those folks, only the ones who are sitting in jail. And it's worth noting that 7-day release does not take effect for another 2 weeks. It's unclear whether this ruling will have much impact in the greater metro area. We also contacted Multnomah County's district attorney's office to ask how many people are locked up in Multnomah County without a lawyer. They said, you know, we'll get back to you next week sometime with that. Okay. Overall, it appears that Judge McShane's ruling is basically shoring up a practice that seems to be already getting better, making sure that people who are locked up do get a lawyer. Although this is such a highly charged topic, don't be surprised if it gets appealed up to the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals. We'll be watching. What do you think about this latest twist in the public defender crisis? Do you side with Judge McShane's ruling? Why or why not? Let us know, will you? You could email us. The address is thestory@kgw.com, or go ahead and call and leave a voicemail, 503-226-5090.